Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jake Garman, and welcome to my informative speech on mental illness, a illness that has been going around that is going around the world that is either recognized by some folks or not recognized by some folks. And we're about to get into it right here and right now on what it's all about. Now, a mental illness can be a disorder of many things, whether it's people struggling with anxiety, depression, autism, dementia, Alzheimer's, PTSD, OCD, dyslexia, you know, whether it's any of those things people have, it's a part of, you know, a mental illness, whether your emotions are either sad or angry, whether you feel, you know, nervous all the time or scared all the time, bipolar. These are all very common illnesses that people tend to either recognize or not. Now, what are the three most common disorders that people will recognize? The three of them are anxiety disorders, clinical depression, and bipolar disorder. Anxiety is where people feel emotions, whether they feel, in their body shaking, the adrenaline pumping, stuttering, having a panic attack, nausea, chills. Physically, it can be all sorts of those things, and might even lead to worse. Maybe it could lead to a heart attack. Maybe it could lead to an asthma attack. It can lead to a panic attack overall. Clinical depression is when you struggle to do something you love every day or struggle to find happiness. You lose interest for certain activities. You no longer have a passion for anything. You don't have a motivation anymore, no matter what you have to do. You don't want to leave, people don't want to leave their bed. And a bipolar disorder is a bunch of mood swings. You never know if you're going to be happy, you never know if you're going to be angry, and you never know if you're going to be sad. You could switch up any moment throughout the day, depending on how you start off feeling and then how you end off feeling. Now, how many Americans statistically suffer from mental illness? Well, an estimated 26% overall of Americans from ages 18 or older suffer. About 1 in 4 adults suffers from a diagnosable mental disorder in a given year. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be adults only, it can be kids, but a lot of people don't recognize that in kids, unfortunately, when many people suffer through it throughout the years. And, you know, 26% of us in the US struggle with mental disabilities and mental illnesses. Now, what are the causes of mental illness? A tough childhood, whether someone was abused in their childhood or whether their family struggled through poverty, just never being happy all the time. Some people turn to drugs and alcohol to help themselves cope instead of talking to people. And unfortunately, the drugs and alcohol make it worse in some ways. Past trauma like PTSD, surviving a car accident, or sometimes war veterans, having survivor's guilt. An injury that you just can't get over, and it affects the way you think and the way you feel at times, and it makes you scared to be in certain places. Long-term feelings, whether you're sad or angry, not just for a day, but for a period of time, weeks, months, years, it can be a struggle for some people to even change. And then a family history of, whether their disorders were passed on to you or not. Now, mental illnesses can't go away, but with medicine, like, Paxil, Prozac, Celexa, it can definitely help you fight it. It can help you keep going every day and motivate you to, keep fighting. Mental illnesses come and go, but you can fight it and stay above it. Now, when it comes to which genders suffer the most, when it comes to depression and eating disorders, the women are more affected by that. And when it comes to substance abuse, drugs, alcohol, the men seem to be more affected by that. There is a mental health difference for both sides that can affect either, party. It can go either way for all genders, but when it comes to certain areas of illnesses, it can be either one of those genders. And here are all the works cited where I found my information. Whether you recognize mental health or not is a common issue going on in today's world. Not a lot of people recognize it, and hopefully more people will recognize it after the speech. Thank you all for listening.